Gang, we are here today with episode 16 with my man Chris Vaglio. Chris, great to have you here. Love it. We got the horns up
Yes.
within the first 10 seconds of the interview. My relationship with Chris goes back now. If DSM is 15 years, it
Oh,
has
wow.
to go back at least 13.
I can't believe it's been that long.
Yeah, we're getting old, dude. We're,
Jeez.
we're getting we're getting way old.
Wow.
Chris is the homage today for Chris. The reason why I wanted to bring Chris on was because ever since the day that I've known you, that smile right there, you are one of the most positive. You are one of the most um, cordial, nice human beings that I've ever come in contact with. Again, we haven't seen each other in probably a year and a half.
Yeah.
Last week, or was it last week or 2 weeks ago at the Jersey Awards? Was that 2 weeks ago already?
No, it was a week ago. It was actually a week ago today.
All right. So
Yes.
a week ago today, we don't see each other for like 18 months. And we end up sitting at the same table at the Jersey Awards.
Hmm.
And it was like with me, Derek, and Clayton and
Yep.
Chris. And it was like a day never went by.
We did not skip a beat.
No, we didn't. No, we didn't. So firstly, I want to say thank you to you for the relationship through the years, for the camaraderie through the years, to all the conversations we've had. Chris and I will get into it
Yeah.
as we get into the interview, but without going all chunk and Goonies type of crap. Um, ha- Tell us about Chris Vaglio and kind of like
Wow.
what were the roots? I mean, between the Kiss album Let's Rock, Rocket, and Antler Wound,
Yeah.
and the guitar, it's
And
like
Metallica.
yeah,
Yeah.
and Metallica, it's like the story of Chris right there. But
Yeah.
tell us
Pretty
about the
much.
beginnings. Like, how did you get into? When I first met Chris, it was through Gray Sky Films,
Yeah.
and that was sort of kicking down the door of like what Chris and Mark and like what those guys were doing over there. Very similar paths early on in our
Hmm.
journeys. But tell us about Chris and the beginnings of that and like how you got
Yeah.
into it.
Well, boy, there's so much there. Yeah. Listen, I'll start with. The reason why all this stuff is behind me. I mean, really, this is like I just listen. You and I have known each other for a long time, and I wear it on my sleeve, man. I wear my influences right on my sleeve, and yeah, there was a time when maybe I was really kind of concerned about, oh, be a professional in this way or that way, and then at some point I just said, "Can I curse on this, or is this no cursing?"
Do whatever you want, man.
I want to make sure. At some point, I just said, "Fuck it." I'm just gonna start
You're
like
the
wearing this
first
stuff on.
person to ask me if you could curse on this thing. This is why I love Chris Bagley.
Well,
See, even when you're not trying to be polite, you are polite.
certain shows try to keep it like PG, so I want to make sure, I want to make sure I'm doing right by the by the host here. So anyway, so I wear this stuff on my sleeve, man. I mean, literally wearing it on my sleeve. Like I
Yeah.
am just a complete nerd, and if I'm gonna go with how I started even in to like my creative journey. I mean, it really goes back to when I was a kid, and I know it sounds cliche, but honestly, for me, it's not. Like I really embrace it that I saw Star Wars in 1977 when I was a little kid, A New Hope in the theaters. My parents took me, and it hit me that the magic of that was created like obviously not real, but the fact of the illusion, the magic of being able to create an entire universe like that on a film and put it out there, and then of course the toys and all. But it just always it like hit me even at that young age, and it's just something that always like stuck with me. And as I grew and watched all the Star Wars movies, but it's what sort of propelled me to get into like music, and I was always around like creativity. Like music was always on in my house. My great uncle was a really well known jazz musician, Angelo Vaglio, and he was like, oh, you should do music. And so I started playing guitar. I always wanted to be a guitar player. I love Eddie Van Halen. He's my idol, which is why I'm supporting Van Halen today, because this is 1 year ago today that
Yeah, man.
EVH passed away, and man, That was tough. So, but he was always my guitar hero, and guys like, Jimmy Page and Randy Rhoads and Ace Frehley. I mean, Big Kiss. I mean, Kiss is the first rock band I ever got into. It was like that Destroyer record behind me. It's the first record I ever bought with my own money when I was a kid. And all this stuff just influenced me and kept fueling my fire for wanting to be creative in one way. So it was music, and then I got involved in bands and being involved in the punk rock and hardcore scene, where I felt like, up until then, I kind of felt like very much like invisible and kind of mediocre in life, until I got into punk and hardcore, and I felt like I was so accepted, and I could play that kind of music. Like, I was always a metalhead, but like I didn't have the virtuoso dexterity or the discipline to be in a shredding metal band. But punk and hardcore, like, that is something I could totally play and be, I could do that. And I embraced it and the culture, and I fell in love with that culture and that DIY attitude and all that. And I was able to then eventually really start diving more into like filmmaking and video when I got into college. That's what I wanted to do. I had a taste of it in high school, and so that's where, I actually met my business partner, and who became one of my best friends. Best man at my wedding was Mark Sorreo, and we met actually at the registration line at County College of Morris, where we both went. That was in 1992. It was right before the fall, but we were registering for classes, and I was like, didn't know what I was doing. I'm still in, senior in high school. There's this dude standing in front of me with long hair all the way down to his ass. And I'm like, this guy's metal. I'm gonna ask him if he knows what's going on. So I'm like, yo, bro, you know what's going on, man? He's like, no, I don't know what I'm doing. Wound up sitting next to each other, and he was like, yeah, I'm wanted, I'm involved, and I want to film and video. And so we wound up like signing up for almost all the same classes. Summer goes by, fall semester starts, and I'm like, oh, this is the dude that I met at registration line. And we're like in almost all the same classes because we signed up together. And that was it, man. We became really fast friends. And, he was in punk and hardcore bands. He was a drummer. I was playing guitar in other bands. And, there was just so much kindred there. And, he was a Star Wars guy. So it was just so many things were like clicking. And we wound up then graduating CCM. And then we went to William Patterson together, where we both took the film program there. And really not too soon after we both graduated from college, like maybe a year or two out, we just started doing Gray Sky. Like, we were like, doing the typical filmmaker thing, trying to get jobs on sets and PA, being a production assistant, PAing on things. And I was like, okay, this is cool, but like, I don't know, we just both wanted to do our own thing. Like, we want to do our own thing. I don't want to work for anybody else. I want to do our thing. And that was it. We said, well, we're just gonna go do our own thing. We're gonna go make music videos for our friends' bands, because at this time it was like 1999, 2000, and so like MTV2 and Fuse were like playing like basically all the
Wow.
punk and hardcore bands we're like hanging out with, and we're like, well, let's start making music videos for our friends' bands. That'll get us going, and that'll be an entry point to making films and commercials. That was our big plan. And we got like anything else. We got a loan from Mark's dad, who gave us like, I forgot, I think it was like $2,000 or $4,000 to go out and buy equipment, because we didn't have anything. And the digital revolution was out there, so it was mini DV cameras, and so you could do this awesome looking image without like having to buy a big expensive like beta cam or a film camera. So we went that route. We got that, and we started getting gigs, and we were shooting weddings and high school lacrosse games, and it was like we were actually building this whole business around events and things like that. But it wasn't what we really wanted to do. We wanted to do music videos. So we basically left this budding business behind to go focus on music videos, and we did. We started making music videos, and we got to work with bands like My Chemical Romance, and we were working a lot with Sony, doing a lot of work with them internally. And we got to film Sting and Tony Bennett, and Mark got to fly to England and go film Pink Floyd on their reunion thing for Live 8. I mean, the stories from that side like are countless. I mean, we had great times and great stories doing that. But eventually we went from doing the music video thing into then doing the commercial and the corporate route, because that's honestly where the money was. The music video side kind of imploded here, and we weren't ready. He and I were not ready to go. Like we just weren't like, we're not going to go move to LA and go do that. Like I got a family now. Like he's got, he's got things going on. He's bought a house. And it's like, we just can't get up and leave and go to LA. Like it's not going to happen. So we just said, well, let's start focusing on the commercial and the corporate side and start working with more agencies and internal marketing and things like that. And that's when the company really took off and grew. That's when it really started to grow into an actual, like, from two guys running around doing music videos to like a company, like a video agency.
One of the things that
That was a
when
lot.
well, no, I mean, honestly, like this is about you. This is for you. But like when you were doing this, because when Chris says like he literally wears things on his sleeve, like hold your arms up, like literally wears
Yeah.
things on his sleeve, like he's got Boba Fett on
Yeah.
his
Oh, it's this hard.
sleeve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Boba
So one of the things I think that like when we met you guys, we were very early on in our journey, and I think you
Yeah.
guys were a little bit further, ahead of us.
Not that much further though. I mean, I think we were kind of paralleling things. I mean, I think we were maybe together a little bit longer, but I
Yeah.
think when we met you was when we were making our transition out of music and like into like that corporate and commercial world.
Was that because I know how much you guys, obviously, you could see it behind Chris here, how much you were into music. Um, like you said, the stories must have been incredible, but was it difficult for you guys? I know it was about the money and whatever, but was it difficult because that's really, I mean, when I think of you and Mark, like
Mhm.
the music,
Yeah.
you know,
I
or was it
mean,
at the time? And the
you
reason
talking
I
about
say that
was the transition difficult?
was the transition difficult because it like that's why you got into the business and it was getting
Yeah.
away from like your passion or what you thought it was going, what you were going to follow.
You know what? I think when the transition happened, and if Mark's listening to this, he may correct me, but I think it was about maybe 7 to 8 years into Gray Sky that the transition happened. And I mean, it was a series of events that happened. I mean, we were starting to make a bit of a name for ourselves, but we started noticing budgets were getting smaller. And then we were working with Sony at the time, and Sony had a massive, massive like bloodbath of a layoff, like overnight. CEO gone, president gone, and basically just, I mean, mass layoffs and closings of Sony Studio. I mean, it was an overnight thing.
That must have
And
been like 07, 08.
yeah, exactly.
That's right when I
Yes, it was
started.
around that time. And
Like,
that was like, oh my God. Like we were at that time, we were getting a lot of business from them. And it was cool. But like we were like, oh, everybody we were working with is gone, like gone. And we're like, oh boy, okay, so there's no more business coming in there. And the music videos are like, these are a lot of fun, but we're not making money. Like we're not making money to do a sustainable business model. And as much as we love doing this isn't going to work. Like we can't survive like this. Like we have to make a decision. Are we going to keep going, or are we going to call it a day? Because we can't keep staying here. There's no way. There's no survival. I'm not moving to LA to go do that thing. And like we didn't have that big of a name where we could go, well, we'll just go do this. And like it wasn't happening at that pace. And I think to stay in it longer to get it to happen was going to require a lot more sacrifice than either one of us was really prepared to do. Like from a financial standpoint, it's not in a position. I mean, my kids, I had at that time, like my youngest daughter, like, or my oldest daughter was still very young. I mean, I had kids in diaper, like, it's a decision. I'm like, I'm not in a band anymore, so I can't be like, hey, I'm gonna go out on tour and go, like those days got like I gotta feed my kid, and same thing. We got mortgage payments, we have responsibilities. Like I can't go, but we could still do our dream if we switch our focus. And so we made a business decision.
and so there's two key takeaways for for the listening audience here. First, if you're young enough, there used to be music videos. They were really
Yes.
cool. They were really awesome. They don't exist anymore. That's when I was in the business well, they probably do still exist, but
They
like
do exist. I mean, but they just get released straight to YouTube. I mean, bands just have their own YouTube channels and it just goes out on there.
it's crazy. Like I can literally remember the first time, like my mentor, the reason why this series exists, Kenny was at Viacom at the
Hmm.
dawn of MTV.
Yeah.
And I remember the first night it went on, like I remember us sitting around a TV and like the families were all together. It was like a Saturday night and we all sat there and he's like, all right, get ready. And it went from like nothing, like snow, to like all of a sudden, like
Yeah.
Adam Curry was on and he's like, hey, and we're like, as like a 5-year-old or 6-year-old, I was like, what the hell just happened?
Yeah.
And so yes, there one, if you're young enough on here, don't be lame, go look up MTV and there were music videos. And two, the reason why I brought it up, because a lot of people on here, I've gotten a lot of comments from young people who reach out and they're like, dude, I love what you're doing, but like we're nervous about this or we're nervous with that. Like what Chris is saying, you're going to make sacrifices and you're going to have to make business decisions for where you are at in life. And it
Mhm.
might not always be exactly what you think it's going to be, or it might evolve, or it like
Right.
be malleable enough to treat it as something that you can change or you can mold like a
Right.
piece of clay, because you never know what's going to happen.
You have no idea. I mean, and case in point, what we've all just gone through. I mean, we're still living through it, so it's not over. So I don't want anybody to think I'm being flippant about this. I know it's not over, but I mean, everybody has had a global change right now that no one was expecting, and has had to make some decisions and make changes in their lives. Back then, at that point, I mean, that was it. That was for us was like we still really want to be doing this. Like we love what we do. We still want to be creating. We still want to be involved in music or in, video and filmmaking. Like this is what we do. We're filmmakers at heart. So we want to tell stories. Like, and we're like, okay, well, if it's not going to be music videos, then we're going to go this route. There's plenty of businesses. There's a lot to be done there,
Yep.
and it really was a business decision, and it was the right decision to do, as much as it didn't seem like that at the time. And this is what happens. I mean, if there's a takeaway here, it's like don't be so quick to dismiss certain things as opportunities, because sometimes it's just the universe telling you, like, hey, you know what, you did awesome here, you learned a lot,
Move
but
on.
that's maybe not the path for you. Maybe this is the path for you.
Yep.
And you got it. And then that's when you got to look at it and go, all right, you know what? We're gonna take the leap here. And it makes sense financially. It makes sense. It's not that it's a safer route, but it's the wiser choice, and it was the smarter choice for us. Not saying that's for everybody. Like you make your own choices. Life will present itself in its own way to you. For
Mhm.
Mark and I, that's the choice that was presented before us, and that was it. I mean, I'm not gonna say, oh my God, we figured it all out at that point, but it was the right path to go down because it's what led to growth. It's what led to success. It's what made Mark and I transition from just two filmmakers, two music video producers, to actual businessmen, to business people, like
Yep.
in growing a business and still being artists and still being creative at the same time. That
And,
was
and
that was our awakening point.
And I think that that is so important because, like I said, from the memories that I have when we like initially met, it was, I had a tremendous amount of respect for you guys because I felt like, now you might have, you might not have felt the same thing,
Right.
but like it was one of those things where like I looked up to you guys because you were doing it. Like I, when I first started DSM, like, out of a porch
Right.
or whatever, I saw
We
what you
started
guys
out of a
were doing.
porch too.
I'll never forget going to the office and being like, oh my gosh, like this was before we even I think before Ryerson and I even had an office. I think we might have still been working from our houses, and we walked into that factory and I was like, oh my gosh, like this is it. This is it. Like, and everybody's office was like, you had all the movie posters and
Yeah.
like everybody's office was unique. And I was like, all right, this is it. Like, this is what I want. This is why I started it. So, you guys might not have seen it or you guys might not have felt it, but like an homage to both you and Mark for how you guys set that up and the transition and like understanding that there was an opportunity. And I think it's important what you just said. And if you're listening out there, take heed to this because when you start a business, like I looked at you guys as entrepreneurs, and it's
Mhm.
being an entrepreneur or like a business owner, it is not easy. It
No,
is
no.
not easy by any stretch of the imagination. I remember having conversations over at your place and you
Yeah,
guys having conversations at our place had nothing to do with like, you know, video or film
no,
production or print ads or TV ads. It was
right.
like commiserating about the misery of what are we all doing this for? And like this is really hard. This is
Yeah,
really
why are
hard.
we doing this to ourselves? And
Yeah, like this is really hard.
it's really hard. I mean, anybody that tells you that they've got the 90-day quick fast solution to 7 figures, 8 figures, 9 figures, or my system of 60 days to fast success, it's all bullshit, everybody.
be
I,
leery. Be
it's just
leery.
bullshit.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. There's ideas and there's things that can help you build those systems for sure that will set you up for success, for future success. But there is no fast way to growing a bit. There just isn't. It's you have to put the time in. You have to got to put the reps in. Like I said, Eddie Van Halen did not become a guitar virtuoso. Yes, he was talented. Guy was talented. But you know what? He started off on drums and he learned how to play piano, and then guitar spoke to him, and it clicked with him, and he put in the required amount of time to master the instrument, and not only master it but invent like new styles of playing. And it didn't just happen because he picked up the guitar once and then magically he was sick. Yes, he had talent, but that talent needed to be fostered. He needed to practice, and he created, he developed, he experimented, he took risks, like he put himself out there. I mean, and this is so on and so forth with anybody in history. But like the point I'm trying to say is there's no fast way to success. The only way to get to where you want to be is you gotta do it. You gotta build the relationships. You gotta put the time. You gotta be passionate about what you want to do. And you got to be willing to deal with what's going to happen, because it's going to happen. There's going to be a lot of shit times, but there's going to be a lot of freaking amazing wins that are going to, like, oh my god, you're going to ride those waves forever until the next the next valley hits, and then the next hill comes, and it's all peaks and valleys, man. But that's entrepreneurism. That's business ownership. You got to love what you do.
You're good, dude, because that segue right there. So on the top right of Chris's screen. So Gray Sky becomes this wonderful business, right? You
Hmm.
guys are doing great, doing all the corporate stuff, doing all the
Yeah.
TV, everything. This guy right here, who I'm talking to, decides that with a tremendous amount of, I'll never forget the day you told me, with
Yeah.
a tremendous amount of courage I was like, all right, dude, like I'll never forget going to that Starbucks on that rainy day.
Yeah.
Like, all right, like I was going through a lot of my own stuff, but you're like, I'm doing this. Like, here we go. And so Rocket Growth Agency, talk to me because Chris, like I said, that creativity, that passion for what you had with Gray Sky, now you get to Rocket, and it's a totally, well, I shouldn't say a totally different skill set, but it's a different skill set.
It is. It
You're
is.
you need to you need to tap into something different than the creative side that you had at Gray Sky. Tell
Yeah.
the audience about Rocket, what you're
Sure.
doing, and how this was. I know why, because you're one of the most personable dudes around. But like, tell the audience how what's Rocket
Sure.
and why Rocket.
Yeah. So I'll give you the quick of what led me here. So I've been talking about, Gray Sky, and I mean, when I tell you that Mark and I poured every ounce of blood, sweat, and tears into that business, and I know you know this because you know us and you've been there for a lot of it. We did. I mean, there isn't a thing that I didn't breathe, live, and die by when it came to Gray Sky Films. And it's my baby. It's our baby. It's we grew it from nothing. We grew it from a front porch of my house, like into a 7 figure company that's thriving, still thriving, by the way. So I just want everybody to understand that, like, Gray Sky's not done. It's not over. It's still happening, still thriving, still growing. And Mark is keeping our legacy like well alive, which nothing makes me prouder than seeing that. So that being said, for me, and I think for a lot of people out there who are listening to this, I think this is going to be a very similar story. is, the lockdown happens, the pandemic happens, and it gets intense here. So wherever you're listening to this in New Jersey, we had lockdowns starting basically mid-March, like right after my birthday. We there was lockdowns happening here. Gray Sky Films itself had just come off 2019, like our most successful banner year of growth and revenue in the history of the company. We were having steady growth for at least like 4 years. And then 2019 was one of our largest years ever of growth. It was awesome. 2020 started off with a bang. It was shaping up to be probably, I mean, it was so hard to say, January, February, but the forecasts were very good. Let's just say that. It was good. It was positive. Mark and I were stoked. Um, Lockdown happens. Obviously, everything comes to a grinding halt. And I'd say for the first time in years, I actually paused. Like I was like, not, I mean, we're
Took a
other than
chance,
trying to
took a
take
chance
care
to
of,
breathe.
yeah, and then other than trying to take care of the things that we need to take care of, being responsible business owners, getting the PPP loan, making sure people are taken care of, like, let's do, Mark and I put the, break glass in case of emergency type of thing, and started thinking, how do we do this strategically? How do we save money? How do we keep people on? Like all that stuff. And so once we got through a lot of that, which was probably within like the first month, the first few weeks, during this time, no, my mind starts going to like, my future of what do I want to do? And, I just started, like, yeah, for the first time, I started breathing and like thinking and like just stuff that I hadn't thought about in years, because all I was ever doing was thinking about Gray Sky Films. And, for me, I essentially came to the conclusion for myself that I was ready to move on from Gray Sky, um, in the sense of the whole video and film industry itself. After 20 years of doing it, I started to think to myself, wow, I have accomplished so much. Everything I set out to accomplish with this company, I've done it. Now, of course, there's always more. There's always going to be more money, more growth, more projects, more people, like all those. It's always going to be more. But to this point, I have fulfilled a lot of things I wanted to fulfill. I got to start a business with my best friend. Um, we grew we grew from nothing. We survived many of the things that had already happened. We employed people. We gave people jobs. We worked on amazing projects. Got to travel to places in the world. I got to go to Europe several times. We made short films, original projects together. We're working on our own YouTube series with some, like, it was just like I started taking stock. I've done all this stuff. And one of the things I've always loved doing was, I've always tried to be a mentor to people whenever they've reached out or help. And I really just became more like, I really want to like coach. I want to consult. I want to help people out. And I thought, well, maybe I could do the two things together, and it's just not going to work. Gray Sky Films is demands that you're, and it's not Mark or anybody. It's just that you have to be focused in that company. We are working around the clock to make people's projects look sick. Mark and I have always taken everybody's projects serious, and we want things to look the way we want it to look, which is just awesome. There's no mailing it in. There's no half-assing anything. And I didn't feel like it would be fair for me to continue on with that company kind of being like half in, half out. That's not what we designed it for. That's not what I want it to be. It's not fair to anybody involved that I'm not 100% committed. And so I said, and the most difficult decision I ever had to make was coming to that realization for myself, and then having to tell my business partner, my best friend of 25 years, that this is what I want to do, and then I'm ready to move on. And it was, I mean, because once again, I talked to you about this, so all the emotions I was going through. It was really, really hard to do, but I needed to do it for myself. I needed it, just where I wanted to be and what I was looking to do. So Rocket Growth Agency was born out of that. And to sit here, I would be lying to you if I said I had it all figured out and exactly what I wanted to do. This was definitely a ready, fire, aim kind of a business. I knew I wanted to coach, I knew I wanted to consult, and I knew who I wanted to work with, um, for the most part. And even that's been figuring out. And yeah, and I had a transition from being a video producer, um, and working in the world of video and film into this coaching and mentorship and consulting role, which While I had some experience with it, it wasn't something I was doing full time. And so I had to transition from that to this, and that took time to develop. But essentially, what I do is I help creative professionals, creative business owners, creative professionals to help them really build what I love to say is a rock star brand, to help them do three things, which is to get noticed, to feel confident, and to get more clients. And what I want to do and what I do with people is I am really sharing my years of experience and knowledge of having built a creative company. You know, yes, it's video, yes, it's film, but it doesn't matter. It's a creative agency, and I built it with my best friend, and I learned a lot of shit along the way that I know a lot of people are struggling with, and that usually is in the form of I'm really having trouble standing out. I'm having trouble scaling my business. I'm having trouble getting clients. I know how to get more clients. I want to be more active or be looked at as an authority leader, but I'm not. I'm a little self doubt about it, and so it's all these things, all these different things that people are looking for, especially in the creative side of things. So filmmakers, video, photographers, designers, agency owners, these are all the different things. I mean, I dealt with all this stuff as an owner and as a creative professional. Like, how do I scale my business? How do I get more clients? How do I even leverage a network? How do I even network? What is my network? Like, I don't want to come off as a sleazy salesperson. How do I hate selling. I can't stand selling. So how am I supposed to go get more clients? This is all the stuff that I work with people on, like how to do all these things to build their business, to build their brand, to get more clients, to be more professional, to do the things that they're looking to do when they want to take it from here to here. And this is the stuff I've learned to do like by doing it. And on top of that, all the years of being a punk rock and hardcore taught me how to do these things, by the way, because I took all that stuff and applied it to Gray Sky. And now I'm taking, and Mark and I did that because Mark was also involved in that scene, and we did that. And then I'm using the same techniques that we grew that company to help other people grow their companies. That's Rocket.
It's an interesting dynamic too, because like I said, like one of the first words that pops into my head when I think of you, or like when I see, like, it's always sort of effervescent. And like, yeah, I know you're like the punk and hardcore guy, but it's a different vibe. It's not that like dark and, like with regard, I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
Like last Wednesday night, Chris, kudos to you, the new president of the New Jersey Ad Club as well,
Thank you.
Which is totally awesome. He's got the gavel now, so if you see him out,
I do have the gavel.
Yeah, watch your face because he'll give you a knock in the head. But no, like just being there and seeing you, how many people stopped at the table, how many people you were talking to at the time. Like when I first walked in, you're talking with Derek, like we walk into the room, the room stops. It's like that type of personality. And I think it really affords you the opportunity, all the acumen that comes with running a business and having that sort of like having all those scars, that's important.
Right.
But you can also get a great understanding. I think you can be a great, what's the best way to say this? You can be a really terrible business person, but be a really great personable human. And you have sort of the best of both. And that's what makes Rocket. When you were telling me, you're like, "Oh, this is what I'm going to do." I'm like, all right, well, he's already got the networking connector part down, and like the branding side, being a creative, it totally fits. And it's a great fit. And you've been
Thanks.
running it now through a pandemic now for almost 2 years and growing it. But having that understanding at a time when many people might not have done it. You're settled into a business, you're doing what you love. Like that takes a lot of gumption. That takes a lot of courage to do that. You could have just kept going. Yeah, you could have just kept going. You could have just,
right.
It is what it is. But to that point, and I'm not sure people will get this, but you wouldn't have only been doing a disservice to yourself, but you would have also been doing a great disservice to Mark and to the company that you grew from the ground up.
It's actually, you saying that, I'm glad you said that because that's actually something my wife said to me when I was grappling with this decision. And she was like, "Listen, you got to really be honest with yourself, but you got to think about like, yeah, just but think about this. Like, if you continue to do this, like the person like you're thinking about the person you're probably going to hurt more than anybody is going to be Mark,
Yeah.
and because you're not going to be, he's going to be wondering like, why is Chris not like being a business partner to me? Why is this? Why is this? And it's like, and meanwhile, I'm just holding it inside, and it, in what ended very amicably as far as a business relationship goes, in that sense, really could have been a complete fiery train wreck. I mean, honestly, I mean, because if I hadn't been able to be honest with myself and honest with him, I'm sure not only that, and then our friendship would have been destroyed too, which is also very important to me that like, I want to stay friends. I want to still be best friends with this guy. I mean, we started this together, like, and I don't want to lose that. That was really important to me. And my wife's, that was really one of the things that really made me say, well, you know what, I got to do this now because it's exactly it. Like, I don't want to ruin this friendship, and if I hang on and try to like, well, I'll just fight through it, and hey, just man up, Chris, just fight through it. Well, I think it would have been a great disservice, and it would not have been fair to him or anybody else involved, and the clients, and I didn't want to do that. It's just lying to myself and lying to everybody else, and that's just not who I am, and it just creates unnecessary negativity.
Totally agree. Totally agree. Um, so all right, so Rocket now 2 years old.
Rocket.
Where 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 are what's next for Rocket, bro?
Man, it is I love this question because it's the stuff I think about this all the time, right? As a business owner, you're always thinking about where you can go with it. And so the one thing, I have a ton of ideas, but I do not want to get ahead of myself. I want to, I'm growing this business the way I want to grow it. It's great and it's nice, it's steady. I want to work with, people who um
Are
really fit
cool.
in. Yeah,
Are
really fit in
cool.
with me and fit, and I can help. But I mean, honestly, I mean, where it lies right now is I do one-to-one coaching with people. I have a group coach, basically a group coaching online group that people can join. So if they don't want to work one-to-one, they can join that. I would love to be doing more, public speaking and presentations. I love that. And now that that's kind of opening up a lot more, I love to do that kind of stuff. I mean, where it goes from here is, it'd be nice to start maybe developing some courses that people can take online, so more video kind of stuff. So all this stuff is going to be an evolution. I mean, heck, you never know. Maybe it'll be a rocket school of coaching where other people will learn the rocket style and become rocket certified coaches. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, that would be way way off in the future. Maybe not. I don't know. But I mean, and there's all kinds of other things I'm working on that would just keep kind of building up the services that I'm doing. But ultimately, at the end of the day, man, I really just want to work with people and help them get by the challenges that they're dealing with. I mean, nothing makes me happier is when I hear people say, "Oh my God, I did this thing you recommended and it totally worked, and now I was able to land this new client, or I was better able to qualify, or I was more efficient with my time here, or and so on and so forth, and all those things about building business that we all went through and still go through. I mean, I've been building this business from scratch. It's nothing was figured out. I learned it all and been building it all on the fly, but and it's just that understanding that and going with it. But
One
I
of the
mean,
things
I'm gonna keep growing this thing, and listen, I know I'm only capable of dealing with so many one-on-one clients, but we'll see how it goes.
one of the things that was really super interesting about what you just said, and where I think that where you get the most joy from what you're doing is very similar. Like I enjoy the same thing, and
Right.
there's a lot of parallels to it. Um, and one of the things that I impart on people is don't hold it, don't like hold it inside. Like
Yeah.
give it away, because when you give it away, like some of the young kids that I like helped that like reached out last year when they graduated,
Hmm.
or even other business owners, like there are people that I know that have been in business way longer than me, that you you just get this feeling when you talk to them that you're like, how'd you how'd you get here? Like,
Yeah.
what do you
I know.
uh, like, like why are you doing it like this? Because they're
Right.
either holding it close to the vest, they're like they're in it for something. You know, like everything comes at a with a negotiation.
Yeah.
Like I just I don't get it. And one of the real passions and one of the like honestly like one of the homages that I have to you today
Hmm.
is this spirit of like giving to people and wanting to share that and wanting to in your evolution from the Chris Vaglio I knew 13 years ago to today, like there's a lot of courage in that journey. It wasn't an easy
Thanks.
journey. There was a lot of courage in that journey. And on top of that, while you were while you were imparting courage to get to the decisions that you made, you weren't being selfish in those decisions. And those are two really big traits that I admire as I look back and as I'm like, well, like, you know, one of the things you said today, all the things that I accomplished. Like when I set out to do this, like, you
Right.
know, there's always something like
Always.
there's always like, I hit this and like, it was one of the, you know, the brick wall after brick wall after brick wall.
Right.
There are days like how many brick walls can you run through?
Yeah.
But at the same time, as an entrepreneur, that's what keeps you coming back. It's like the
Yeah.
golf shot. Like I get in most days, like I hit like 95 really bad golf shots, but it's that one freaking golf shot that always brings me back, you know?
It's the wins, man. It's like you get addicted to the wins or the things that, you know, just bring you whatever it is that you're doing in your business. When you hit that benchmark or that next milestone, or you get that big win, like it's a rush. It's a rush, and you want find the next one and get the next one. And this is why, you know, you get a lot of serial entrepreneurs and people like this, because they're addicted to the business of business. Like
Yeah,
it's that, you know, and it's a rush of success, and it's cool and it's fun and you love it. You know, but then at some point you got to say, well, what is, you know, now it comes into, but what is real happiness?
right.
You know, and like it's one thing to have short-lived rushes of things that are great, but then it's like, but what was really driving me to wake up every single morning and go, man, I love what I do. And for me it was like I was doing that with Gray Sky, and then I wasn't. And it took me a long time to really realize that, and it was tough to realize that because I felt awful, you know, I felt guilty, like it did not make me feel good. But the realization of that then led to, okay, but what actually will make me happy? What is the thing? And I thought about it. I'm like, well, you know, I love doing this. This is what makes me happy. And, you know, I get up every day and I'm like, you know, honestly, the question I get asked more than anything from anybody is like, do you regret it? Like, I seriously, I get that a lot. Like, well, do you regret it? And I'm like, no. You know, is this hard? Hell yeah. This is hard as hell to do this, man. I mean, I'm not like, you know, rolling in it here. It's not like, you know, I'm lighting dollar bills on fire here. I mean, it's hard freaking work, man. And I'm doing it by myself because I had a business partner, and this is it, man. When I'm great, rocket growth this is me. Everything's me right now. It is. It won't be forever, but right now it is. It's hard freaking work, but I love it. I absolutely love it. And I wake up every morning happy and I go, you know what? For me, I made the right decision. I really am. And, you know, Gray Sky is still going, they're still rolling, they're still super successful, and I love it. And I talk to Mark all the time. Um, and I love it. I absolutely nothing makes me happier than hearing all the success stories. I'm like, yes, right on. Yes, love
But
it.
but you know
Keep
what it
going.
is? What separates you from a lot of other people when you say that, like, and you get the question like, was it the right decision? Blah blah, whatever. When you when you invest yourself into something and you get, I have two words for it. This is something that I've had to learn. I
Right.
didn't always have it. Exuberant joy.
Hmm.
When you have that joy in what you do and how you do it, I know it sounds funny and cliche, but it's like find something that you love and you'll never work a day in your life. There are days when, you know, DSM, like Rocket,
Yeah.
DSM, you know, Gray Sky, whatever it is, like it could be working at Amazon, like
Yeah.
whatever. if you find what you love, I don't care if it's being a janitor, a mailman, a police officer, and
Doesn't matter.
an agency owner, like if you bring that joy with you, which is what you do,
You're a
it's
happy person.
it changes your whole outlook on how things roll.
It's true happiness, and it's like that's the thing too. Is like I hope that people listening to this understand that that exact dynamic and what you just said. That statement is like we're not saying here that you have to be a business owner, you have to be an entrepreneur to obtain happiness, own your own business. That's not it.
Whatever.
Like happiness comes in so many ways, and it's all about you. What makes you happy? That's it. Answer that question. Ask yourself what makes you personally happy. You know, that's what, you know, if I mean, I know you and I know this book well. And if anybody listens, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, first business book I ever read. And I wouldn't even classify it really as much of a business book as it is just a life book. And I mean, a real secret to that book is that, yeah, think it and you'll become it. But it's like really, it's about the happiness. What makes you truly happy is what makes you rich. Think and grow rich. I mean, that's it. And it's not riches as in money riches. It's the happiness. Listen, we're only on this life, man, for a very, very microscopic short amount of time.
Mhm.
And we only have the time that we have. That's it. And so you got to make the most of it, and you should live life as happy as you can doing the things you love. I mean, that's it. I mean, that's really what it comes out. And you know what? And this is what as I've gotten older, this is older and wiser, but like, you know, you start to look at it, man. I mean, you start to really, you know, when you're really young, you don't think about it as much. It doesn't seem to register for you, but you know, as you get older and older and older, it begins to like, man, you know, you start to feel like not that you're running out of time, but you start to realize and respect how precious your time is
Yep.
and how you want to spend it,
Yep.
you know,
And not
and
only
spend it
how
with the
you want to
people
spend
around you and,
it,
you know,
who you want
like,
to spend it with, you know, the things you talk about, the things you do, the things,
yeah.
you know, being with, you know, your wife and kids and just uh I don't even know how to end it.
Yeah, but I mean, but really, I mean, if the pandemic has really taught us anything, man, it's that. I mean, just that. Like, think about the time and like what happened and what we've all been through, and still, you know, we're not all out of the woods out of this yet at all. Um, but I mean, this is what it's taught us. I mean, if anything, it's opened up our eyes more than anything. It's like, hey, man, time is precious, and you gotta make make the best of the time you have because when it's time, and we don't know when. So, you know, and not to be all morbid or depressing, but but this is what I'm just saying about the happiness side of things. Like, do the things that make you happy in life. Spend the time doing that and that. Like, stop with the bullshit. Do things that are gonna make you happy. That's my biggest takeaway from today. And that's what Rocket Growth Agency for me. And yeah, it makes me happy to do it. I love it. I absolutely love it. I love doing it, and I'm excited to see where it's gonna go. I don't have it all figured out, but we didn't have Gray Sky all figured out. I didn't have half the stuff in my life all figured out. I mean, who figures it all out? Anybody who says they
Stop.
have it all figured out is freaking lying.
Stop. Keep doing what you're doing and how you're doing it because again, to close this up, I mean, I don't know how to end it like what you literally just you you couldn't have put together a more thoughtful, succinct answer about what this is. This series was created because I had a gentleman when my dad died who took me under his wing. And I never, to the point of like wrapping this up with a bow, I never got to say a proper goodbye for all the things that he did and
Right.
helped me with and the advice when he never had, I wasn't his kid. He never had to do it. And, but he found joy and it's what he imparted on me. He found joy in helping a kid like me, one of his friend's sons, who passed away when he, you know, was 18 on the 16 in 10 days, it'll be 26 years. He basically took me under his wing and said, I'm going to carry you through from being 18 or 19 years old
Right.
until last year. And I'm not going to leave you. I'm not, whatever you need, I'm going to be there for you. And that, I think, you did a wonderful job of wrapping that up. Honestly, like I said, keep doing what you're doing, because this homage, when I thought about having you on and how to, it couldn't have gone any better, because you literally got out everything. You tied together a story and put it to a very tangible thing, like, which is the time we have, following your passions, following your pursuits. It's not always going to be easy, but it will be well worth it in the end, because of the joy that you get out of it. So Chris, man, thank you. My homage is to you. I'm so glad that we had the chance to talk.
I appreciate you very much. You know that, and I appreciate this opportunity. And yeah, this is great. This was wonderful. I just, thank you. Thanks for
Yeah.
having me on. Thank you for everybody who was listening and watching and all that. You guys are all awesome. Thank you so much.
Seriously, guys in the audience, guys and girls, whoever's watching this, check out Rocket. If you're a business owner, if you're doing something, like, Chris is a wonderful person, but he's a great storyteller. And it's like, it's putting yourself out there. I don't care who you are. You got to figure out, if you're gonna go and make something of yourself, and how to get there on that journey, you need to understand and have somebody who's been there through the ups and the downs of, like, what works and what doesn't. And it's not to say everything is going to work, because everything changes. But man, thank you for coming on today. I'll give you the last word. Dude, on this day, I didn't even realize we were going to do it on the 1-year anniversary of EVH.
Yeah. Yeah, neither did I. I mean, and I'm glad we did, because it got me to, be able to talk about my love for Eddie, and how much of an inspiration he was to me. And, and that's I made an Instagram post, and I just put the checkered, his the red and white, black checkered, and I wrote a whole thing. I'm like, it's a year later, and uh he was a big part of what Rocket is, because of the inspiration of that and what he did and what he accomplished. And it's a big part of me coming up, my life, and what's fueled me. And so, I'm glad we were able to do it on the anniversary of his passing. I think if there's one thing I would love to say, everybody out there, and this is something that I learned over time, and I forgot it, and I brought it back, not just recently, but it's just something that I've had to remind myself of over time. And if there's a thing that you want to write down and leave it so you see it every day, which is this one thing, man, which is never ask for permission. Don't ask for permission. Don't. Just do it. Just go ahead and do it. Don't ask for permission. Never ask for permission. Write that down. Never ask for permission. Done.
I had a microphone. I dropped my microphone, but I don't want to break it, so I'm dropping the microphone. And dude, Chris, oh my gosh, this was freaking rad.
This was great.
My man, thank you. Homage to you. Episode 16 is done and dusted. Super thankful. Keep a watch out. If anybody, wants to connect with Chris, hit me up. Those that watch it, I'm going to post it on the socials in the next week or so. Dude, keep doing what you're doing, because you do it the right way. And it's an honor to call you a friend and a compatriot, man.
No, I appreciate that so much. I really, it's an honor for me to even be asked and to be on here. It's great. So I appreciate you very much. Thank you for having me on. And if anybody is looking to get a hold of me, I make it very easy. Just text the words "Let's Rock" to 88500. You'll connect with me instantly. Just text it. Text "Let's Rock" to 88500.
Here we go.
We're gonna get connected, and we're gonna rock it.
Horns up, baby.
Woo!
Chris, thank you so much, pal. Love you.
Cheers. Thank you.
All right.